chosen ones, they measured you by your silence. They judged your patience and mistook it for fear, writing you off before you even made your first move. They couldn't see the storm forming beneath the calm, the force gathering in the shadows where God was quietly building what no one is allowed to touch. But now, everything they built on assumptions is trembling, because what they ignored was never ordinary. It was unstoppable. Hello and welcome, my dear friend. At some point, you realized the safest place to hide was in plain sight. Not invisible, just underestimated. They thought they had you figured out because you didn't correct them. They assumed you had nothing going for you because you didn't advertise what was growing. You let them build entire conclusions off the way you moved when you were still half-healed. And honestly, that was smart. You learned something people with loud egos never do, that staying underestimated is protection in disguise. They weren't supposed to see it coming. The strength, the sharpness, the way your choices now reflect a whole new discipline, the way your name is starting to echo in places you've never even walked into yet. It's not magic, it's consequence of who you've become behind the scenes. Some people, even the closest ones, used your quiet seasons as evidence against you. They mistook your patience for paralysis. They treated your dignity like it was weakness. And now they're scrambling, trying to figure out when the shift happened. Here's the truth. It didn't happen overnight. It happened every single time you didn't stoop. Every time you stayed silent while they joked at your expense. Every time you forgave someone who expected you to turn cold. Every time you kept showing up with open hands while others came with hidden agendas. You didn't just survive disappointment. You carried yourself through it, with no witnesses, no applause, and no rescue plan. And now the payoff is starting to move. Not like a wave crashing in, but like a change in temperature that you're no longer adjusting to. You're done lowering your heat so others don't feel exposed. That's why they're reacting. You're not even talking louder, you're just no longer shrinking. And the contrast is blinding. This is what people never expect. They don't expect you to be the one who knew all along. They don't expect you to outgrow what they placed you in. They don't expect your life to start looking like evidence, not of luck, but of long-term obedience. You didn't need a stage, you needed a mirror. You needed to see what God saw in you before anyone else could be trusted with the vision. And now, the cover is off. Not just in a spiritual sense, in a literal, physical, visible way. People who once felt taller next to your uncertainty are now stunned by your posture. People who once used you for convenience are now intimidated by your availability. People who once doubted you out loud are now whispering your name with regret in their chest. And it's not about revenge. This isn't about proving them wrong. This is God proving himself right. He was right to back you when no one else did. He was right to call you chosen before anyone saw fruit. He was right to keep you hidden until your roots were deep enough that storms couldn't shake you loose. You thought you were being ignored. Turns out you were being preserved. And now the container is too small. What used to fit no longer holds. You can't play along anymore with the roles people assigned to keep you predictable. You can't make yourself digestible for people who were never hungry for your truth. You are showing now, not performing, not pretending, not adjusting, just being. And that's dangerous for anyone who was invested in your earlier version. They made peace with the idea that you'd never rise. They bet on your self-doubt. They called it support when they offered advice you didn't ask for, advice that always assumed you were beneath them. And now their memory of you is a liability. They can't talk about you without sounding out of touch. They can't gossip without exposing how little they ever knew. They can't replicate you, replace you, or reduce you. Because you're no longer running on explanation, you're running on evidence. And it's undeniable. You've got things moving now, internally, relationally, spiritually, that you prayed for in pieces. And though it's not loud, it's real. And what's real always surfaces. That's what this is, the surfacing. And no, you're not for everyone, but you're finally for yourself, and that changes everything. Let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a tree crack a sidewalk? Not overnight, not with noise. It happens so slowly, no one notices. Until one day, there's a split in the concrete, and what everyone thought was unmovable isn't anymore. That's you. You've been growing quietly underneath expectations, under labels that didn't fit, beneath stories others wrote about you. And now, you're breaking through, not with a shout, with a presence that's no longer asking for room, because you were never the thing they said you were. You were the root system, the foundation, the part no one wanted to study, because it didn't perform on cue. But now the sidewalk is splitting, and they're trying to remember what it looked like before you outgrew their framework. Let them. Let them wonder when it happened. Let them scroll through old memories, trying to pinpoint the moment they lost access. Let them revisit conversations where they called your discomfort drama and your boundaries attitude. Because here's the truth. They didn't lose you because you changed. They lost you because you finally stopped pretending. And that's the part they never expected. That the version of you they were most comfortable with wasn't real. It was a placeholder. It was survival mode. It was the you that didn't know you had options. But now, you do. You know what it feels like to rest without guilt. You know how to walk away without bitterness. You know the difference between connection and obligation, and it shows. Not in your appearance, in your decisions, in your peace. They don't recognize you now, not because you've become someone else, but because you finally match what God always said about you. And that's why this moment matters. Because when God lifts the cover, when he starts showing people what he's been developing behind closed doors, it's not a promotion, it's a confirmation. Not everyone gets to watch this part, but the ones who do, they'll remember all the moments you were passed over. They'll remember how they used your loyalty as a cushion and your silence as a scapegoat. They'll remember how often they made you the easy target, because you were the one who wouldn't fight dirty. And still, some of them will pretend to cheer, because it's easier than admitting they were wrong, that they laughed at someone who was becoming holy, that they misunderstood someone who was walking through fire without making a show of it, that they made jokes about someone whose name was being whispered in heaven the whole time. And of course, some of them turned bitter, because they can't use you the way they used to. And deep down, they probably know that, but they'll never say it out loud. But you don't need them to admit it, because God already did. That's what this season is. It's God saying, they didn't believe you, but I did. They didn't value you, but I covered you. They didn't ask about the weight you carried, but I was measuring it with every step. And now the scales are tipping. You'll walk into places and the atmosphere will tell on you. Not with drama, not with ego, with depth. You'll say less, and people will feel more. You'll do less, and it'll land harder. You'll show up like someone who has nothing to prove, and that will speak louder than anything your past could scream. This is what being revealed looks like. Not performance. Permission. The permission to be whole. To be seen without softening your story, to be present without filtering your power. Let them feel it. Let them sit in the weight of their assumptions. Let them process your name with the new tone it now requires. Because no one clapped when you were undoing everything in private. No one cheered while you restructured your identity from the inside out. No one stood beside you when the grief, the betrayal, and the disappointment felt like a second skin. But heaven was watching. And heaven never forgets who kept building when no one brought tools. Heaven never forgets the night you cried, but still got up the next morning and chose love again. Heaven never forgets the decisions you made that cost you comfort, applause, and approval, but kept your soul intact. And now, heaven is backing your name, not with noise, with movement. This is God saying, now they'll see it, not to shame them, but to remind you, I never needed their approval to get you here. I just needed your obedience. You don't owe them your story. You owe yourself your freedom. So walk into it. Let the ones who misread you correct themselves in silence. Let the ones who projected onto you adjust their tone in private. You've got nothing to explain. The cover is off. God is showing you off. And what you carry now, it was always there. They just weren't ready to see it. But that's not your problem anymore. It's your permission. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If you found value in this message, please like the video and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and continue your amazing journey by watching one of the videos showing on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.